Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome once again to the TangentCast with myself, Marta, and of course, Paul.
pretty much.
So how have you been this week?
Pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, business as usual then, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Obviously been mostly focused on the whole bunch of NX stuff, Polaris stuff. Just started editing an interview with Robert over at AMD.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a few games here and there.
Time to play games. Amazing.
I know. Doing some research on stuff in the background as normal.
Yeah.
Got a whole bunch of white papers open on my phone, so I'm reading those as and when. And Jim, and I think there's some sleep thrown in there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
There's sleep somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's fairly similar tale for me. Obviously, not the exact same things we're working on, but I recorded a first impressions of Doom. We'll talk about that later.
Did it shake the room?
Force Showdown.
No, it actually didn't even respond to that one.
Dark Souls 3 PC version. You know, quite a busy week in terms of videos and just general life stuff. So,
Okay.
what have you been playing this week, Paul?
Good question, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
I have been playing Street Fighter 5.
Cool.
I've been playing a little bit of Quantum the Breaky, although I'm actually a bit behind on that. I need to start catching up on it.
Alright.
And I've just been playing little bits here and there, not really anything super specific, just kind of throwing things in.
What do you think of Quantum Break so far, then?
Well, I mean, we're going to go more into the whole thing of it being one of the best-selling IPs.
Yeah, well, that's a new thing there. We'll worry about that later, but your opinions of the game.
Really enjoying it, actually.
You're playing it on the Xbox, right?
Yeah,
okay.
mostly because it just happened to be the version.
Well, to be fair, I have heard that the PC version is a mess, so it's probably for the best.
To be honest, I figure there's not... I mean, I just kind of bought it on the Xbox One, and I was like, you know what, fine.
No, I don't really blame you. I mean, the PC version, from what I've heard, is bad, so it's probably for the best.
To be honest, I'm actually really enjoying the game. You can tell it's from Remedy, put it that way.
Yeah.
But it has a few things. It has a few bugs here and there.
No,
but
the game doesn't, to be fair.
No, exactly. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. I like the narrative style. I like. You can tell there's a lot of production work put into this. I mean, you can tell that they've put work in.
Oh yeah. I mean, this thing was supposed to come out in like 2014, I think.
Something like that.
It was delayed, obviously, till this year. So.
Pretty much. And
Street Fighter, I mean, I guess any improvements since the launch, or is it pretty much the same?
To be honest, the problem I've got with Street Fighter 5, and it's my fault, it's not the game's fault. The game is really down to learning it really to a degree where you're going to understand the characters. So the problem I've got is because I don't have enough time, I just go online, and it's like I've got a 50-ish% win ratio, which is not terrible considering I'm in like Super Bronze League and the one above that I can't remember. I'm basically fluctuating between them, but I don't have enough time to throw into it.
Yeah.
So at the moment I'm using Ryu, even though I don't really want to use Ryu, because A, I'm bored of using Ryu, and B, everyone uses Ryu, and C, there's so many other cool characters in the game.
Yeah, well, admit, like, I played it for the first time the
Yeah.
other day, and the roster of characters is pretty impressive.
So I've been playing the game on and off, but if put it this way, if I wasn't running RGT or I wasn't working or what have you, I'd put in a lot more time into the game. But as it is, I'm enjoying it. I think it's pretty balanced, although I'm nowhere near good enough to be able to say that with certainty. But so far, I'm quite enjoying the game. I have to say that I didn't like it initially. I'll be really honest, I did not like it initially. But since then, it started to grow on me quite a bit, like a weed.
What didn't you like about it at first, then?
I really like Street Fighter Alpha. Fun little tip, actually, a friend imported Street Fighter Alpha 3 on the Saturn. This is actually quite recently. It cost him like £200. Because it's actually the best version. It's even better than the Dreamcast version, which is kind of weird, but it is.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm quite the fan of Alpha, and I don't mind Street Fighter 4, even though I'm terrible at it. But I didn't like Street Fighter 5 because it felt like they stripped away a lot of the stuff, which made the game cool, and I felt that the damage was too high. But I was judging that purely on videos of other people playing.
Oh, right, okay.
And, you know, it's kind of like you can make a judgment, but it's like anything. Until you sit down, shut up, play the game for some time, and then you realise, the damage is really high, but most of that is because you've been stupid. So, like, if you just decide to do, like, 4 dragon punches in a row, and every time you get blocked and someone hits you on a counter and then, basically wrecks your shit, that's your problem. So, I think the best phrase of describing it is, I'll teach you a lesson, basically. But yeah, anyway, over to you. I've basically eaten up about 5 minutes of the video.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing that I've been playing this week is Dark Souls 3. Finally, the wait, to be honest, seemed endless at times.
So, alright, I'm going to give you a happiness scale.
Okay.
So, 1 is someone has given you a box of chocolates.
Okay.
To another one is someone has given you a full body massage and also paid for you to go to a trip to Hawaii. What scale would you be on?
I mean, I'm pretty high on that scale.
Okay.
Can I just say one thing before I get into like opinions and stuff?
You may. I give you permission.
Fuck the cursed rotted greatwood. Seriously.
Yeah, I had noticed you were basically spamming RGT's all social media, like, just with rage last night.
Seriously, fuck that boss so hard. Oh my Jesus. It's not. Here's the thing. I know I can beat it. It's not actually that hard. Not yet.
Well,
but I keep getting really close. That's the thing.
You know what? That's the slight segue. You know the levels of rage I had with Blood-Starved Beast.
Oh yeah.
I almost broke the PS4 pad at least twice with throwing that across the room.
To be fair, by all accounts, that is one of the hardest bosses in the game.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 bosses I've had in Bloodborne where I was close to giving up. Most of the bosses, like Father Gascoigne was a bastard, but I knew I could beat him.
Yeah.
But Blood-Starved Beast, the problem I had with Blood-Starved Beast, I thought it was actually quite easy. It was just the poison kept getting me, and there was...
Yeah.
And also when I was playing it, because the game was pre-patched, the frame rate dips were just awful. It was like, I mean, you saw it. It was going into like so... So it's like, good luck trying to roll as the game's going to like 3 frames a second.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And before anyone jumps, yes, it wasn't actually 3 frames a second. Don't be noobs.
Yeah, it's being a bit facetious there.
Yeah, we're talking, compared to a PC, it's running at 3 frames a second.
That would never happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, fuck that boss. I know I can beat it, but I just...
Fuck it in the eye socket?
Yeah, well, it doesn't really have eyes, but never mind.
We'll give it eyes and then you fuck it in it, okay?
But overall, the game is great. It's more Dark Souls, but I feel like it's better than better than Dark Souls 1, and I love Dark Souls 1. And it's definitely better than Dark Souls 2, and it has, from the little I played of Bloodborne, it's got a little bit of Bloodborne in there with a little bit of, a lot of Dark Souls, and it's definitely the best in the series by quite a high margin, given how high the standard was with the other 2 games. That's not an easy feat to make.
Do you know, the only thing I disliked about Bloodborne, well, there's 3 main criticisms I had of Bloodborne. Criticism A is, I think, the parrying relying on guns. It was a really good idea, but I think that the ammo... I didn't like how it worked, basically. I think that the 20 bullets, and yes, I know you could get more with sacrificing blood and all that stuff, but I found it wasn't as intuitive as Dark Souls. I found that the way that the warping worked in the game was a pain in the butt, along with the loading times. And C, I felt that there was way too much grinding for resources in the game. I think if they'd have fixed that, it would have been like an oh my god game.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, did you find that the game was... How can I put it? Do you think that Dark Souls took the elements that were best of Bloodborne, or do you think that it could have still been a bit faster paced, or do you think that...
I definitely think they've taken some ideas from Bloodborne. Obviously, Miyazaki learned a lot from working in Bloodborne, as well as the rest of the team, like From Software, and they took some of those ideas.
You definitely see some of the art.
Yeah, no, I mean, the art is very Bloodborne, all the graves and stuff in that first area. That was like, oh my god, this is like Bloodborne.
I must confess, one of the things that made me survive playing Bloodborne is, and I'm still not completed it yet, I'm really close though, but one of the things that really has got me with Bloodborne is I love the art style.
Yeah, and the same with Dark Souls 3. Like it's Dark Souls, and it's definitely given me some Dark Souls 1 vibes. And apparently, it's very similar to Demon Souls, but I never played that.
I was going to ask, have you played that?
No, I never played it because it was only on PS3, which I never owned. So I've never played Demon Souls. But I've heard a lot of people say that it's a very reminiscent of Demon Souls.
I heard it was rock though. That game, I heard it was really different.
Yeah, apparently it is. As I said, I've never played it. So yeah, Dark Souls 3 is great, and I have to say, one of the things I definitely appreciate about the game is it actually has a difficulty curve. It doesn't just start with this vertical cliff face like the other games. Like the first boss is pretty easy. I beat it first time. Like,
yeah, me too.
No effort. Same with the second boss. Actually, I beat it on the first time without really trying. And now this third boss that I'm fighting is the first boss to really give me any trouble. And so it's taken a good couple of hours to really ramp up. And there's still difficult enemies. It's not an easy game by any means. I've died countless times already, but it definitely started off a little lower on difficulty than the previous games, which I appreciated. So, yeah, cool. It's pretty good. And the other game I played briefly for a couple of hours is the Doom Open Beta, which I did do a video on. So,
how are you finding that? Because I've not yet to play it, even though I'm a big Doom fan. I don't know why.
Here's the thing. It's fun, but I don't think it's what people want.
Yeah, but isn't it... I've not really looked into the beta, but isn't it true that they're only offering a couple of the 1 billion different modes they're going to have in the final thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's only Team Deathmatch and Warpath, I think. That's it. There's the only 2 matches available on 2 maps. That's literally it. And we all know they're going to have mods and maps and stuff available in the full game. So the map variety doesn't really bother me because it's a beta, and B, even when you have the vanilla maps, people are going to make their own at some point eventually. So that's cool. But I know it's obviously been modernised, which obviously we kind of had to expect given how long it's been since we've had a Doom game. But I feel like it's lost something along the way, and a lot of people on my video that I did commented that it looks a bit more like Quake or Unreal Tournament or something like that. It doesn't really look like Doom, and I can definitely see it. It has some elements of Doom, but it's kind of too much of things that aren't Doom.
Did you want me to give you a random bit of trivia?
Sure.
Back in the day, Quake 2 and Unreal were 2 of my first online gaming experiences on the PC. And this was when I was a high-ping bastard, also known as on dial-up connection.
Yeah, so, I mean, I enjoyed it, the game, but it's got lots of modern elements of like, hey, here's an unlock of a shiny thing, and XP, and all these other things that people probably didn't want in Doom.
No.
So I've got a feeling that unless single player is more Doom, multiplayer is...
Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes, let's move on to topics, shall we?
So, which one do you want to cover first?
I'd say let's talk about the NX, because we've got quite a bit to talk about on that this week. So...
Yeah, we do. I'm being helpful this week.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah.
So the first thing that happened is that apparently it's going to have at least 4 Wii U ports on the NX, and one of those is probably going to be Zelda.
Well, no, from what I'm hearing, it's 100% confirmed one of them is Zelda.
It would make perfect sense for it to be Zelda. To be honest, it would be more strange for Zelda to not be one of them.
I don't know necessarily if they're going to do anything different, by which I mean like larger areas or what have you.
It's probably just going to be maybe better graphics or something. I doubt they'd give extra content to the NX people.
But hopefully, he says, it's... I mean, from what I'm hearing about the NX, it's looking like a really good console. You know, the only ones who are going to fuck up the NX at this point are Nintendo.
Yes. Please just give us a normal controller. Please.
Well, they've already said that it's going to have a screen.
Oh, God's sake.
One of the rumours, though, is basically it's the Wii U controller, but it's a dummy controller. So, in other words, it has no onboard processing capabilities. Basically... You can play anywhere, and you can play it over Wi-Fi or what have you, long range, but there's no mention at the moment of exactly whether that's a standard controller, whether it's an optional feature.
I was going to say, the screen thing, is that from Nintendo, or...?
No, these are from rumours of developers who are using the hardware.
I really hope that's not true, for the love of God, Nintendo.
As I said, to be honest, there are 2 things that can fuck up the NX, in my opinion. One is Nintendo and their stupid policies, and this includes everything from the ridiculous social media policies they've got all the way to deleting Mario Maker levels and not telling people, because that's pissing people off a lot.
Yeah, Nintendo are weird. They're really forward thinking in some ways and really 10 years behind the times in other ways.
Yeah, and the other one that could be a bit of a scupper is, I think that depending on what happens this year's E3 or next year's E3, or we don't know when the NX and all these other systems are going to be revealed, but my worry is that if they're going route A and the market is moving towards virtual reality or moving towards these super duper high-end consoles, for example, let's say you've already bought into the PS4 ecosystem, but Sony and Microsoft are releasing these new generation of systems. You've got that PC coming out and stuff as well, obviously with the new generation hardware. My worry is that folks are going to say, how the hell am I going to afford all of this? And if you've already bought into the PS4 ecosystem, especially if you've just bought a PS4 VR, or say PSVR, you might just, I mean, the PSVR plus the PS4K, plus all the other little bits and pieces you're going to have to get, you could spend like $1,000 on that alone.
Yeah.
It's not going to be cheap, especially when you've got the Xbox Next. And my point being, I do wonder, it's basically like all consoles could potentially launch at the same point. So you've got this mad scramble, but because the PS4 and Xbox One have already slightly established themselves, it's going to be quite interesting.
The thing is, it is Nintendo, and if they have a strong lineup of like Wii U ports on launch, I think they'll be okay. I mean,
apparently Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming out, which is really cool.
All right, yeah. I mean, what I'm predicting for the 4 ports is obviously Zelda. One of them is probably going to be Star Fox Zero.
No, they've already confirmed what they are.
No, they haven't.
No, the rumours have already said what they are.
I was going to say, like, nothing's been confirmed.
Yeah, but basically, the guy who put these out, his name's 10K, he's done the rumours are in tier systems. So, for example, tier 1 is one person's told him this, but tier 4 or above...
Well, never mind, like, what's he saying that's coming out?
Well, obviously you've got Mario.
Which Mario?
Sorry, not Mario, you've got Zelda.
Yeah.
You've got Splatoon. You've got the one is Smash Bros, and I believe they're considering Mario Maker. So just to reiterate, Smash Bros, Zelda, Mario Maker, and Splatoon. But a possibility is they're going to have more, and I wouldn't be surprised if they actually ended up with...
Well, here's the thing. It's at least 4. It's not only 4.
No.
One I would love to see is Pokken Tournament, because I really want to play that game, but I'm not going to buy a Wii U just to play that game, so hopefully it comes out on the NX.
What's going to be quite interesting, though, is that because these new systems are going to be about twice as powerful as PS4, that's why...
Supposedly.
Pretty much confirmed by multiple developers.
Hedge your bets here.
But the reason I'm pretty confident is because there are so many reports now.
No, I understand. I'm just saying this is stress. It's allegedly.
Well, either way, the systems are about twice as powerful as the PS4. So it's going to be really interesting because I think Microsoft are going to be pressured because otherwise they're going to be... They're going to be the equivalent of the Wii against the PS3 and the Xbox 360 in terms of console performance. You've got a GPU in the PS4... 0.5, which is going to be about 40 flops of computing power. I'm rounding up here. The Xbox One is going to have about 1.3. So you're about 3, maybe 3.5 times below. So that's why I think the Xbox Next is almost a guaranteed. Or they're going to release a new Xbox because they can't be that far behind. Yes, I know that the PS4K is only going to have certain games, but let's face it, if you're buying a new system now and you've got the choice between buying the PS4K, for example, or an Xbox One, and the PS4K has much better graphics, higher frame rates, virtual reality, all this shiny stuff. The only real reason you're going to want to upgrade is because of the Xbox One is because of exclusives. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I think we've waffled on about the NX for long enough. So let's move.
Oh, by the way, guys. Plug. I have done an entire article regarding the NX specifications, including the fact that there's GPU analysis, CPU analysis, memory analysis.
Basically, he wrote a lot of words about that.
About
NX.
2,000.
Yeah, so
and
go read his words.
Yeah, they're also using Vulkan API as well, which is really cool. I have to say that in decisions, that's probably one of Nintendo's best decisions. And I didn't actually realise I'd somehow missed that they're actually part of Kronos Group, which is really cool.
Anyway, let's move on, shall we? One quick thing I want to mention is Hajime Tabata made some interesting comments about Final Fantasy 15 the other day.
Speaking of which, that's also being considered for the NX.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That Final Fantasy 7, before you ask, though it's probably not, because Sony, for some reason, they don't want to partially fund a project that's going to end up on the NX. I don't know why. Don't worry, us PC gamers are fine.
Anyway, basically, you might have seen his previous comment a while ago about how they wanted to sell 10 million copies, and he basically clarified and said, look, that's not how much it needs to be profitable, that's just how much we'd like it to sell. Now, if that means that they still need more than 10 million to be profitable, probably, but it's kind of vaguely worded. But the interesting comment he made is that he actually said that if Final Fantasy 15 doesn't sell well, that's pretty much it for numbered titles for Final Fantasy. So we might still get, like, I don't know, PS Vita or 3DS or
hey, do you know what we need more
whatever.
Of? We need more mobile games.
Yeah, it's probably going to be mobile only, most likely, if Final Fantasy 15 doesn't sell well or well enough, because this game has been in development for 10 years.
Really?
Well, the current iteration, the one that we've all been playing demos of, has only been in development for 3 years. However, it obviously started life as Final Fantasy Versus 13 for the PlayStation 3. So if you count that, it has been in development for 10 years.
That's quite a long time.
So it's probably pretty much impossible for them to make a profit on this at that point. But they at least want to make some of the money back, obviously.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't want to go bankrupt.
Yeah, so if it doesn't sell well...
By the way, and I won't go into the story because I'll be here for a while, you should read up on why they chose Final Fantasy for the name.
I know why they chose Final Fantasy for the name.
Oh, well, okay then, Miss Smart Ass. Why do they...
Because... Sorry, loud motorcycles. Well, Square Enix as a company, or Squaresoft at the time, they were going to go under, and they made Final Fantasy 1 as their final game. It was going to be their last-ditch thing, and it was a huge success and saved the company. So there you go. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
See, I was gonna tell the story cooler than that, but
well, that's pretty much the story. There's not much else to it.
See, you're more of an overview person. I'm the details person.
Yeah, I know, but we're already almost 22 minutes, so let's not.
Okay. Alright,
what should we talk about now? Polaris and Pascal?
Let's talk about Rockstar, because I'm curious about this one.
Oh god, this is a thing that's going to be interesting. Basically, the ex-boss of Rockstar North, a man by the name of Leslie Benzies, is suing Take-Two for, oh gosh, how much was it for? Like 100, some ridiculous amount of money. I can't remember how much he's suing them for. A lot of money, 150 million or something like that.
Right. Go on.
Basically, he's saying that they unceremoniously booted him out of the company and didn't tell him. Basically, what he's alleging, and obviously this could all be lies, we don't know, it's allegedly what he's saying. They basically convinced him to go on a sabbatical for, I think, 6 months or something like that.
And how did they convince him of this? How you look a bit tired, you might want to have a break.
Well, basically, they're like, oh yeah, you should go unwind for a bit, you know, you're all cool, you know, go rest up after the stressful development of whatever game it was at the time.
Probably GTA 5.
No, yeah, maybe actually. Regardless of that, so he went on his sabbatical, and basically he came back from his sabbatical and discovered that, oh, my keycard to get into the office doesn't work. That's weird. Security let him in, and then basically the office manager, it wasn't Dan Hauser or anyone like high up in Rockstar, it was the office manager, and basically told him to leave. And he basically found out that he had been removed from the company while he was on sabbatical, and the millions that he's asking for are lost royalties, because apparently they have some sort of royalty share program where everyone gets the same, like the top dogs at Rockstar all get the same like royalty share or something. So he's basically saying that they've not only shafted him out of a job, they have shafted him out of these royalties that he was entitled to.
That's pretty damn harsh.
Yeah, but the thing is, they obviously responded to the lawsuit and called his comments like bizarre or something like that, and basically obviously denying what he's saying. It's pretty obvious that they would deny it.
Yeah.
But they've also filed a countersuit for damages, because obviously his allegations are serious and they're undoubtedly going to damage their name if he is actually telling the truth, and all this comes to light that this actually happened. That's not going to be good.
No. But people are still buying the next Grand Theft.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. Of course they will.
Then again, it would be quite funny if it was real, because that's something very much out of a plot. Hey, that could be the plot of Grand Theft Auto 6.
That's the thing. That's why everyone found so funny. It's like, oh, this sounds like a mission or something.
Yeah. Screw over boss.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. There's not been any developments as far as I've heard, so it's going to be interesting.
Pretty cool. Not for him, but...
No, just, that's something.
Yeah. Skip.
Anyway, so Polaris?
Yeah. And that was my phone. Ignore that.
Oh, you didn't put it on silent, so unprofessional.
Professionalism is my middle name. Anywho, I'm just You know what? Let me
let's fix it after the fact. Okay.
Yeah. That. God damn it! For some reason, it was like no. This is not working.
More noises.
This is not working. Don't fight me, phone. Funnily enough, as well, my friend just texted me pretty much.
Oh god.
Anywho, so yeah. Anyway, where was we?
Pascal and Polaris.
Ah, yes, those are two graphics cards. You know.
They are.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of news about them lately. Do you want to perhaps give us some overviews of what's been happening?
Well, basically, lots of stuff has been leaked, supposedly. I guess we should start with Polaris first.
Sure.
Just because. Polaris first. Well, basically, there's going to be two different models of Polaris. Two different basic models of Polaris. So Polaris 10, Polaris 11, and each one's going to be available in different configurations. Supposedly, we're going to see it along with our friend Pascal unveiled either at E3 or Computex this year, obviously. And from what we understand, it looks like both cards are going to be using GDDR5 or GDDR5X memory, depending on the particular card. So obviously, high-end cards 5X, regular lower-end cards regular, R5. We're going to be looking at major improvements in performance versus the wattage put in. I mean, the Polaris 11, Polaris 11, which are the lower end SKU, which is the freaking most bizarre thing. You'd think Polaris 10 would be higher end than Polaris 10. But anyway, no. Polaris 11 is only operating at 50 watts, supposedly. Which is... That's crazy! That's absolutely mental. So, I guess we could quickly talk about Pascal. Very much similar in terms of configuration, 256-bit, GDDR5X, blah, blah, blah. Supposedly, from what we're hearing about the leaks, the Pascal performance, so let's say for the sake of argument, you buy the GTX 1070, which is obviously going to replace the 970, the Maxwell 970. Supposedly, the performance is going to be about the equivalent of a GTX 980 to a 980 Ti, supposedly.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It's basically what you've seen since day dot from Nvidia, so it's basically business as usual. Pretty awesome.
Alright, and the last thing I want to discuss today is Quantum Break, which we kind of mentioned earlier.
Yeah, we did.
But basically, it's apparently the biggest selling IP for Microsoft, which is impressive, but they don't really have that many IPs, not really.
Forza, Gears of War, Halo.
I guess, but...
you know what, I'm really curious of how well Scalebound does.
Yeah, I would imagine pretty
Audience,
well.
please prove I'm wrong. Name all of Microsoft's IPs.
Well,
And you can't use Windows. You could use Flight Simulator, Mech Command. Would you like to retract that statement?
Yeah, maybe a little.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah,
regardless of that,
she looks rather sheepish at this point.
Regardless of that, it's still pretty impressive for Quantum Break, and of course, well done to Remedy.
You know, you're getting someone in the comments furiously typing now.
Yeah.
You know, they've done the Wikipedia thing. That's a lot of research.
Well, even if you don't say that, it's still impressive for Remedy. And even if it were true, it's so impressive for Remedy, so it doesn't really matter. It's impressive all round.
Yeah, pretty much impressive. I think it's deserved. I mean, I think, for example, the live action sequences, when they started to play in this show, I was like, oh god, I'm preparing my anus. I was preparing my anus for cheese. But no, they're actually really well directed and acted. I was surprised.
I mean, from what I've heard, I mean, obviously I haven't played the game myself.
It felt more like an episode of Fringe or something like that.
Yeah, they're very well executed from what I've heard. And while the whole sort of mixture of TV and games isn't really a thing anymore, because obviously the changed direction the Xbox One took, it's still really well implemented by Remedy, and obviously well done to them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad it's selling really well, because Remedy are a good developer. So now they make more Alan Wake. Thank you.
Thank you. Come again. Oh, one last thing that I want to discuss.
Yeah.
It says grabbing a drink of water very professionally. Because a lot of people have been messaging me now asking about PC upgrades. I've had at least like half a dozen people message me for the last 3 or 4 days. I'm not even joking. Basically, I would suggest not upgrading at this point. Now, I know you're going to get that one person in the comments who says, but you can always wait for something better. Yeah, that's true. But let's say it was January, I'd completely agree. But at this point, when GPUs could launch literally in just a couple of months, unless you're desperate, like your hardware just exploded and you need something now. But I mean, a couple of folks have been asking me, you know, they want an upgrade for like $1,600 and one was for, I think, the Vive. So it's like, if you're gonna spend $1,600, let's say, you know, next week, why would you not just wait 1 to 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the year, I would say
Computex.
if these GPUs are launching in the next couple of months, you might as well just wait. I mean, unless, like I said, like your GPU's on fire or something.
To be honest, even if it exploded, what I would do is I'd just buy a cheap-ass GPU from eBay. I mean, you could buy like an R9 290 or something like that from eBay, which would be more than enough to play at 1080p for the next couple of months. Wait for Pascal to come down a little bit in price. Because to be honest with you, you know the retailers are going to price gouge for the first couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. You should probably wait. I mean, if it was like they're coming out end of the year, I'd be like, there's no point in waiting. You might as well just buy. But if it's the next couple of months, then you might as well just wait. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho.
So yeah, I think that's us done for this week. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, no questions this week, sadly. So if you have any for us next week, do let us know. As always, in the comments on social media or at contact@redgamingtech.com. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Pretty much.
Bye.
Pretty much. Come. Oh, by the way, guys, get a pretty much chain going on. You know you want to.
Go on, do it.
Pretty much.
Bye.
Bye.